What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Create the Courage podcast. This is a show where we delve into the art of chasing your dreams, leveling up your skills, and most importantly, taking charge of your life. I believe that nobody is coming to save you. It's up to you to step up, take control, and shape your destiny. Now, as this is a journey I'm also on, each episode I'm talking with people from all over the world and all walks of life in the hopes to learn how they create the courage in their own lives. And today, my guest is a very inspiring individual who has overcome personal hurdles and at times debilitating setbacks to follow her heart and turn her passion for animals into a thriving business, leading to her winning the National Small Business Champion of the Year award in 2024. I thank her for taking the time to come and talk with me today and share her story. So, without further ado, here's my chat with Isabella Sims, a woman who definitely represents someone who creates the courage. Isabella, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the Create the Courage podcast. How are you today? Thank you for being on. How you going?
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to do this for the first time. So
Awesome.
pretty keen to see how
Yes.
it goes and having a good day. So wrap it up at the end and with this, it'll be good.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, we're time difference, right? So you're 3 hours ahead. It's currently 8 p.m. there for you, 5 p.m. for me. It's still
Yeah.
hard to get used to the time difference
Mm.
for me sometimes. My mother still lives in Tassie, and every time she's like, "What's the time difference?" I'm like, "Mum," and she's going to watch this. So, Mum, I'm telling you, it's 3 hours. Okay, so you don't forget. Every
But then
time she
daylight
forgets.
savings hits and throws everyone out. So
Yeah, it does.
yeah, it's
It
hard.
does. Okay, I'll give her. I'll let her off for that. I'll
Yeah.
definitely let
Mum
her off
can
for
have
that.
this
But
one.
you can have this one, Mum. But just maybe write it down next time I tell you. Just write it down for the just for memory. um, now, uh, it's pretty exciting for me that we're actually having this chat because you actually reached out to me, and this is the first time someone's reached out to me to talk about the podcast. So when you did, you actually, I got really excited. I said to my wife, I'm like, oh my God, someone's actually reached out to me. This is fantastic. It's working. Maybe I'm starting to get out there. So I really appreciate that you did. And I'm glad that we've been able to make it work so we can get together and chat. Because once I started looking into your story a little bit, I'm like, oh, I'm actually really interested to talk to you about your take on Create the Courage, but also what you're doing as a career in your life. Because I love anybody who's getting out there trying to start a business, trying to do something for themselves and make the world a better place. So I think it was meant to be, and I'm looking forward to learning about your business, learning about yourself, and kind of what your thoughts are on Create the Courage. So you mentioned to me. Backstage that you saw Brody Rainbird who was on, which is awesome. He's a great guy. I guess when you saw the show, what was it about Create the Courage that got you thinking? I guess what got the
Uh,
wheels spinning.
it was just finding those ways to sort of show others, I suppose, that, it's in you. Your courage is there. You just have to find find how to get it out, I suppose you could say. You just have to find that little passion that gets ignited and then take it and run.
Yes.
Just go.
Yes. Well, that's
All of
look. That's what I want. That's what I want people to get. So I'm glad that that resonated with you because at first I'm like, no one's going to know what this means. Like, is anybody going to know what create the courage means?
it.
So I'm glad it's actually starting to resonate with people. And for yourself, I guess, uh, getting the wheels spinning. Create the courage. I guess I've always looked at it as a way of no one's coming to save you. That's a little thing I always say. No one's coming to save you. It's up to you to make it happen. And I learned that lesson a little while ago when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was working a full-time job, and it took me a lot of years to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. For yourself, it seems like you figured out what you wanted to do pretty early. You've got your own business, which is you've run, your social medias, you've won some awards, which we'll definitely get onto. But in regards to your business, it's a dog training business, correct? It's just dogs, just dog
Yeah, so
training.
just dogs. I am technically certified in like all animals as an animal behavior trainer,
Oh wow,
but mostly dogs. This little guy back here, he does some pretty cool tricks. I always say that, and he never
wow.
shows anyone. So we just trust the process that he can do stuff. But yeah,
I
so
trust
mostly
you.
dogs is what I work with. Yeah.
That's awesome. So with that, I guess, when did your relationship with animals blossom? Like, is it something have you always just loved animals? Or did you grow up with a lot of animals? Like, where's that come from?
Yeah, so I grew up with lots of animals. Mum and dad were always suckers. Mostly mum, not going to lie. Bringing animals home, something needed somewhere to find a stray, or there's an unwanted dog on the side of the road that no one wants. Like, we just take it in, make it work. So we've
Wow.
always had those animals, and then same with the horses and that kind of thing. Like, we've just always had them around as like growing up, and throughout my whole life
Yeah.
has just been me and the dogs, me and the horses. So it's just
Wow.
I'd be lost without them. To be honest, I
Yeah.
yeah, there's something about them, and they're very very good distractions, mind you.
Yes, yes, they are.
But my
Lost the camera
main
now.
yeah, he's special. There's a story behind him too. But yeah,
Awesome.
so with the whole like dog sides of things, it really blossomed when I got my border collie Fly. She was
Okay.
she my heart dog. Like I lost her suddenly last year, which is
Oh,
still
sorry to hear,
trying to
mate.
keep it together. But yeah, having her, she was one that I don't really like using the cliche. She saved me, but she
Mm,
really did. Like I battled through mental health issues and bullying in school and that kind of thing, and never been brave enough to stand up for others that were being bullied as well. So there was a lot going on mentally, and when she came along, she changed everything. So that was something
mm,
that just really ignited that spark and a bond, and I just wanted to do everything I could, train her, work with her,
mm.
make her the best, team that we could. So I guess that's
Yeah.
really where it started, as from like a business perspective.
Yeah, wow. Like, look, thank you for sharing that because, I think animals can really, really bring that out of people.
Mm,
I grew up around, I grew up on a farm. We had some border collies. We had, I think, three border collies at one point, a beagle, so naughty. Beagles are very,
love
and
it.
we weren't training them, so they were even naughtier. But lots of cats. I had a cat called Big Al, a little skinny cat but he was so furry. He looked like this big, but if
I
you were to
love
like
it.
grab him, he was like tiny.
Nothing of him.
So we grew up nothing of him. But he just had so much hair. It was crazy. Hence why I called him Big Al. Even had a rabbit called Jordan. He ran
Yeah, okay,
away,
cool.
unfortunately.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he
not
didn't
cool.
love me. Yeah, he didn't love me. He ran away. But
Oopsies.
no, I think he just wanted to be free. He's just like, I'm out of here.
Catch up.
Yeah, I could probably done better as an owner, looking back.
Yeah, we all
Um,
learn. It's fun.
we definitely all learned from that for sure. So I guess so. You grew up with animals, and then this border collie really changed your life. Like, was it from you got it as a pup? Like, did you
Yeah.
get it from being a pup? Wow. And
Yeah,
who
so
got
just
that for you, mum or dad? Like,
no, I got it for myself. She was actually my second dog, the little one
oh
that was in
wow,
here before, off recording. Yeah, she was my first dog. Great little pocket
yep,
rocket thing from a very very questionable home. But yeah,
yep,
Fly was my second dog, and like I had plans. I was riding like horses at the time, competing, all that kind of thing, and I wanted to be able to take her like with me on the horse and have her run with
mhm,
me. But we found out she had hip dysplasia at 6 months, so that just everything ended, and just focused on training. So there I go with my
yep,
ADHD brain. Not quite sure where I was going with that point, but
yeah,
yeah. So she just, yeah, just that she really ignited that spark. But what sort of
mm,
solidified the whole thing for me was I was working in a vet clinic at the time, running puppy classes because it's always sort of been a bit of an interest, and who doesn't want to hang out
yeah,
with
okay,
puppies? Job, like, of
yeah,
course.
well, of course,
And then at the time, the boss has a friend that was working with assistance dogs. So he was looking for a trainer to come on board and work with him. And they, reached out to me and were like, hey, are you interested? And I was like, look, I really don't actually know what I'm doing in the scheme of things when it comes to that level of training. But of course, I want to learn.
yeah,
So yeah, started working with Craig and Misha's mates. And then it all just sort of, from the puppy class and the vet clinic, people were like, okay, we
wow,
want further training. And it just was like, okay, there's a need here on the coast. How
mm,
can I make this work? And then it just,
yeah,
yeah,
that
expanded from there.
blossomed.
Mm.
Wow. So was it so when you were first getting into work, you kind of knew that you wanted to work with animals then because
Yeah.
you're working in a vet, obviously. So it's always been something that's on you. Is that something that you just like? Is that your first job? Like when you got
Uh,
into the work?
No, so I first started working at McDonald's, and then I did some waitressing at a cafe, like sort
Yeah.
of through school. And then when I left school, I got a job as a disability support worker, which was amazing. And then I
Wow.
also, I bless me, I did start my first semester of a teaching degree at uni, but just
Okay.
hated it. School was never for me, and I thought, why do I want to study for 3 or 4 years to then go and teach kids
Mm.
when I don't like school myself. So I
Mm.
just sort of gave up on that and was just working. And then, yeah, the opportunity came up through the vets where we'd always been to, like as a kid, like growing up, mum and dad always went there. Yeah,
Yeah.
the boss owner at the time was like, we're looking for a nurse. Do you want a job? And I was like, I don't know what I want in life. Sure, let's give it a go. I love animals. And yeah, started there. And then it'd be 11 years later, I'm still vet nursing, but then just,
Wow.
yeah, part time while I do my dog training stuff as well.
That's crazy. So it's funny, like it's funny how we go down these paths in life,
Mm,
isn't it? Like
mm,
you're at the point where you don't know what you want to do,
mm.
and then an opportunity comes up. You took advantage of the opportunity, and who knew that that would be, the beginning of now where you are now. That's so cool to hear. I
Yeah.
love stories like that.
And
So
it's
you
really
figured
like,
that out. Sorry,
so you go.
I was just gonna say you figured out pretty young then. Like when did how old were you, if you don't mind me asking, when you started working in the vet?
So I was 18 when I got my first, yeah, when I started at the first clinic.
Wow,
Yeah, so fresh, fresh hooligan baby, I suppose you could say. Chaotic child. Typical 18-year-old.
that's so
Um,
cool though. That's so cool. Like, I mean, it took me forever. I still sometimes don't know what I want to do or what I'm
oh,
doing. I'm
me
trying all
too.
these different things.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm not gonna hide it from anyone. Some days I sit there and I'm like, "Is this what I wanna do?" And then, like, I get that case that, you've had a client, they've been somewhere else, they're struggling with their dog, and they're like, "We don't know what to do,
Mhm.
like, we're gonna have to rehome this dog." And I'm like, "Okay, let's have a chat,
Mm,
create a plan." And then, like, you see that dynamic change, that dog have the help, the owners are satisfied, everything's working, and, like,
mm.
just they mesh back together, and you see that bond just flickered switch, and it's all just there. It's like, "No, no, this is what I'm meant to do. This is
That's
me."
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. And so how where you are, like how frequent is this? Is it like a busy gig? Are you constantly dealing with people coming with issues like that? Or is it I guess that type of work you constantly got people coming to you looking for training? Is it quite regular? I'm assuming if you're running your own business, it
Yeah,
must
look,
be.
it's a little hectic. It does come and go in waves. Like the Christmas school holiday breaks can be a little slower. Then like winter sort of
Mhm.
backs off slightly. But in the last couple of years, it's sort of got increasingly a little bit more intense. And like the last 6 months, it hasn't really backed down. And then this month in particular, I would probably comfortably say has been my busiest for just puppy class bookings.
Oh
Just
wow.
every day they're coming in, they're flowing through, and then same with like the one-on-one consults. Because I've recently just got certified as a canine behavioral consultant, so it's just a slight little
Oh wow.
tweak in the dog training world, and I'm the first one in Tassie to have it too. So I'm like super excited about that because it's like it's just
Oh,
paving like
congratulations.
bragging rights, but it's just paving that way for the future of like this is the standard I expect for myself and my dogs. I want to bring that forward to everyone else. So it's just
Mm,
finding that element there that is, I think, I don't know, people, I don't advertise much. I'm not gonna like, I don't be like, hey, I need classes, hey, I need people. I just let them come. And I
mhm,
attract a really good bunch of clients, and they're the ones that they're just so dedicated to their dogs, and they
mm,
just want what's best. And if I can help that and give them what they're after and support them through their journeys with their issues, even if they're not issues, just like your general puppy parents that just want to come in, teach their puppy the
yeah,
basics, move on. Like it's just yeah, it's actually quite a lot at the moment. It's very busy. Basically working
yeah.
7 days a week. So which is
Really? Oh wow.
yeah,
Do
I
you
love
have
it
many
though.
people working with you, or are you doing it all on your own?
I have a couple of workplace students which are amazing. Like they're the best little girl. I shouldn't say little girls. I call them little girls because they're under 18, so they're young. But they're the best young ladies. Like they're just so
Children.
children, bless them. They're going to watch this and be like, "Oh my god, how awful!" But no, they're great. So they come in and sort of just kick around, learn, get a feel for it, and then they're just sort of figuring out what they want in their life as well. And I've had one in particular. She's really, really driven to do this, and she's trying everything she possibly can to go and get her Cert 4 and just throw herself in, and she's just amazing. So yeah, between my
Yeah.
workplace kids and myself, I've sort of got those little extra helpers. But a special shout out
Mhm.
should go to Adrian. He's another one of my, well, he's a trainer that I met through our course. And
Okay.
he comes and goes when he's not doing amazing things with animal training himself. At the moment, he's working with kangaroos, training them for,
Wow.
international transport, which is just, hopefully that's something I can share. Fingers crossed that's okay. But yeah, he's just unreal. Like, and he'll come in to classes pretty regularly. And then yeah, I've got another
That's
lady
cool.
due to pop in, I think next month, for a bit of a come and try, see how she fits in, and yeah, so looking
Yeah.
at branching out to having that consistent, like ongoing second pair of
Mm.
hands a little bit more, just to help.
As you grow, definitely, I think that's something that I mean, that's like it's another. It's so interesting, like when you get into running your own business, all the different things that come from that. It goes
Mm,
from looking after animals to now having to train people to
yeah.
set standards, set business practices, all the things that come with that. Like, you never know, you might find an interest in training people to
Mm.
do what you do. That's another way you can give back. The more
Oh,
people
I
that you
love
can
it.
teach to look after animals like you do, then
Yeah.
you really help more and
And
more
that's like
animals.
where part of this second course I did. Like I don't know how many times I nearly gave up. Like I was in contact with the instructor multiple times. Like poor Laura, I was like, I can't do this. I'm about to give up. Like I'm just like, essentially rocking in the corner, like overwhelmed. And she was
Yeah.
great. She was like, no, no, you've got this. And I did. Like I got there in the end, and it's been worthwhile. But like a big part of the training around that is being able to take what I know, what I've learned, and what I can do into
Hmm.
other workplaces, be that like other trainers, vet clinics, doggy daycares, or even like schools. There's a little thing in the pipelines at the moment, which I'm really excited about, but can't quite talk
Awesome.
about that just yet. But yeah, like there's
Ooh.
just being able to go and help others. Then there's just broadening that reach of connection and opportunities for
Hmm.
dogs more than anything, I guess you could say, and then owners as well, just to really give them what they need.
Yeah. Definitely, because if I mean, you can't be everywhere at once to help everybody. So if the more people you have that can do
Yeah.
what you do, then that's how you can really help way
Mm,
more people. If you can have 10 people who, have learnt from you, who then take your practices on and go help,
mm,
you're expanding massively. Then that's so cool. And when you mentioned that you nearly quit the course, I'm
yeah.
glad that you shared that because it's those times that they're the character builders. They're the character builders when you're really struggling with something and
Mm,
you want to quit. Like I know,
yeah.
I know that for me myself, when I've been doing something and I just really want to quit, I always end up feeling better when I don't. Obviously, it's
Mm.
cliched. I can't say that, but it really does, make a difference. What was it about that course that was like putting you off? It was just the amount of demand in time that it was doing, or it was the complexity of the course? Like, what was it?
Look, I do struggle to stay focused at the best of times, so I think that was the main thing. But it was just like the level of studies and like the deep dive into the dog's brain and like a science behind it was actually it's quite hard for me to process. Like I had to read through things quite a few times, and I'm like, I just don't understand this. There's still a couple
Yeah,
little things that I just can't. My brain just won't let me understand what certain things mean.
yeah.
I just can't get it. But a little bit of a Google every now and then of what the word means. I'm like, that's it. But it was
That's
just
what
yeah,
it's there for.
working on like cases and case studies. They've finding you've got these dogs with severe anxiety like the second they leave the house, but in the house they're
Mm,
okay. But then like you start looking
mm,
into like little deeper pockets of their behaviors, and you're actually finding that under the surface like an iceberg there's this tiny little tip on top that we've got anxiety, but underneath there's like this massive train wreck's probably not the right word, but like a train wreck of issues just spiraling out of
mm.
control that you're like, okay, I have to actually separate these things, piece things together, and like this bit goes here, and it was a lot to process. It was
Yeah,
yeah, quite
wow.
challenging, but I think we're on track.
You got there.
I
You got
hope.
there. Look, I bet you, I'm going to take a guess here. I bet you learn better when you're doing it rather than reading out of a book. Would I be right?
100%. Yeah, like if I
Yeah.
can read the same page 10 times and be like, what did I just read?
Mhm.
So usually I've gone to audiobooks now. I found a really cool little thing on Google that like the dictation, I think it's called. So you just like press your button and it
Okay.
reads it to you, and I can sit there and I'm like, okay, and then I can like in my head I can get the visual idea of what it looks
Yep.
like, and then I can take that and then put it into practice, and I'm like, there it is. So yeah,
Yes. So you
visual.
probably learn like me. I learn visually and by
Yeah,
audiobook. So like
yeah,
I tell people like, I read books. I'm not really reading them. I'm listening
you're
to them.
listening.
Like I
Yeah,
listen to books. And I find I
yeah,
just absorb it way better because, maybe not I probably wasn't to the extreme of needing to reread everything, but I just would not do it. I was kind of the opposite. I
mm,
just like I just can't be bothered reading or
yeah.
for a
Then
little
I get
while
that.
there I actually but it was hard for me to stay focused reading. But
Mm,
once I started listening to audiobooks, I fell in love with it. Now I'm just constantly listening to
mm.
either podcasts or different audiobooks, and I'm like, okay, maybe I learned that way. And they don't tell you that in school. They don't
No.
tell you that there's different ways of learning and absorbing things. Like I'm a
Mm,
doer. I need to be there
mm,
to do the thing, to see it. And then I
yeah.
can be like, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. But if you were to tell me or
Mm,
get me to read what it was, I would be like, what? Like what? I'd forget.
yeah.
I'd forget.
And I sucked at school. Like I hated it the best of times because it was just I think it's that sitting still. having to focus
Yeah.
and groups of people and all that kind of thing. It was just too
Mhm.
much. But like I just school and I just didn't get along. So going back into more study with these certificates, I was like, oh my god, what am I doing? But I
Yeah.
think because
Yeah.
it was that passion of dogs and helping others and working with animals, like that was an easy side of it. Because I was like, no, this is what I love. This is
Yeah.
this is my my passion. You right?
That's awesome, and it's good that it was a thing that you were passionate enough about to actually stick to, because I'm a big believer in that. Not everybody should be learning the same way. We should all be
Mm,
finding out how people learn better,
yeah.
and doing that. That's something I try to do with my daughter. I'm trying to figure out, how
Mm,
does she learn best, as opposed to just learning the way that school wants to teach you. Because I'm the same. I didn't like school. I hated school. You know, I was better in just the environment of doing the thing, or better talking to people, as
that's
opposed to being in a book and all that type of stuff. She just
yeah,
wants to come say hello. What's up?
yeah,
Reminds me of my auntie's dog that she used to have from
yeah. Oh, I
memory.
love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it really does.
She
Really.
doesn't
What
quite
breed?
understand to look up. She's a Jack Russell cross Kelpie, I was told. I really don't know. She was from a pretty sketchy house. The whole
Yeah.
$50 on Facebook back when you could sell dogs on Facebook. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I just seen her ad pop up and was like, "Oh, she looks like absolute crap. I'll go and get her." She was skin and bone, like the poor little thing. She was starving, and oh, it was. I opened the door to the house and I was like, oh, "I'm gonna die. Like, I'm gonna die."
Oh my God.
So yeah, she ran around
Yeah.
the
Like,
corner. Yeah, picked her up, gave them their
how,
$50 and left.
how do they not feel ashamed of themselves? Like, how do the people
they
like that
just
not feel ashamed of themselves?
they just don't have the capacity. Yeah, we're all different.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah. It's
lives the high life now in custom outfits thanks to grandma and grandfather that
I'm
they
loving all these outfits I'm seeing.
yeah
Everyone's kitted out.
yeah
I
yeah
bet
that,
you have
that's
little Christmas hats for them as well. Little Christmas hats and gloves, I bet.
no, but that is actually I will pitch that idea to mum and dad for their business. I will let Noodle and Snoot know because that is a really good idea. Thank you.
Yeah,
Mum
little
will watch
Christmas
this and just
hat,
be like,
little
"Oh my god, no more."
stars.
Yeah,
You
sorry.
get a whole line coming out, a line of,
Mm,
use your Instagram to promote it. You got
yeah,
doggy dog line that you could
yeah.
sell clothes. There's another revenue stream
Yep.
for you.
Well, they did make me a little egg apron, so when I go out to my chicken coop, I can instead of trying to carry in 12 eggs in hands and dressing down pockets, I put my apron
Yeah.
on and off we go.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
great.
awesome. Yeah.
It's great.
And that's useful. Damn, that's useful. I'll give you
Exactly.
that. That's useful.
Yeah. Yeah, clever.
Um, okay, so I guess now that you run your own business, how long have you been running your own business in
So like
years?
the Bark Above's been going for 5 years, so not very long.
Mm.
But I'm
That's not
exceptionally
bad.
proud of. I don't want to sound like I'm up myself, but I'm exceptionally proud of myself for getting to the point where I'm at. But I wouldn't be able to do it without those clients and family
Mm.
and friends that have been like, you can do this, you've got this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite. I sort of my part of my brain looks at it and goes 5 years. That's not very long, but then I'm like 5 years. You've done like what if like the things I've done. I'm like, wow, that is actually like,
Yeah.
I find that pretty impressive. And like I built it from
I'll tell
nothing.
you
Like I
now.
didn't go and buy like a preset business and go, oh, I'll just tweak it to suit me. Like I built it from nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty damn cool.
You should be proud of yourself. There's
Mm,
nothing wrong with being proud of yourself, because 5 years is a long time. Because I don't know if
mm.
you've seen the stats about how many businesses start and fail within the first year to 2 years.
Yeah,
Not many
okay.
people make it. Not many
Yeah, right.
businesses make it past 1 or 2 years. So the fact that, like, we've just we're into our third year of running our own cleaning business. So we
Yeah,
started our own. I was managing gyms at the time,
yeah.
and COVID hit and everything. Like, we couldn't
Mm,
work. I'm like, oh my god, like, we have no income. um, so that kind of gave us the idea when we came back from that, we got into cleaning the gyms, just because, having worked in them for so long, we had an
mm,
opportunity to clean the one that we're working at. And we're like, you know what, let's give it a go and actually see if we can do our own thing. And when I started looking at the stats and statistics of how many businesses survive or fail within the first couple of years, I'm proud that we've made it 3 years.
mm.
So you should definitely be proud that you've built it from nothing for 5 years, because you got people that go and buy franchises, you got people that buy into other businesses, or use
Mm,
other things to get ahead. The fact that you've done it on your own and built it up, yeah, you should be proud of yourself. I think
mm,
that's a great achievement, mate. And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk to you, because anybody who does their own thing, or takes a chance or gets out there, I think it's important to hear those stories, because you
mm.
might motivate the next person
Yeah.
to have a go and do their own thing, and that's what
And
I
that's
hope to
what I
do with the
wanna
podcast.
do, like, I want to inspire that next person, and, like, we'll get to, like, the whole awards thing and, like, all that kind of stuff, like, it's just for me, like, as much as I love it and I'm honoured that I'm at like, being held at that standard, but that
Mm,
there might be that kid out there that's like, "I don't know what I wanna do with my life. Do I wanna work with animals?" And then, they might hear that, I had a crap run, I was crap at school, I was bullied, I was never brave, like, all this stuff happened, and then, I'm not good at math
yeah,
either, like, 12 years later, like, look what's happened. So it's just one of those things
yeah,
that if I can, yeah, even if I can just influence one person to follow their dream, that's all I want.
yeah.
That's all I want to do.
Well, I think you just need to keep sticking the course. And I kind of do, if you don't mind, want to touch on the whole school thing because,
Oh,
like, my like I got an 8-year old, so my
yeah.
biggest fear is dealing with bullies and things in
Mm,
school, and God, like it scares the crap out of me. And having also gone through school, I was bullied at one point as well, and then at
yeah.
one time I was a bully, and I look back on that
Mhm,
with a lot of regret. And it happens to a lot of kids, I think. I
mm,
went from being I was quite a big kid, um, and got teased about that. Then I lost the weight and got into sports, and then found myself becoming like those people, and I had to really snap and go, what the hell are you doing? Like, remember
yeah.
what it was like when you were going through that. So
Mm,
luckily, I learnt from it's a big thing, and it's impossible. Kids are ruthless.
mm,
Kids are ruthless.
yeah.
And the fact that you said that you had all that and you're not liking school, like, school's important when you're younger, I think. But honestly, I think you don't. The world has changed, and you don't need school to be
Mhm,
successful in life. You
yeah.
need to be a go-getter. You need to have
Mm,
courage to take chances and do things and get out there and do things. And I think you're a perfect from what you've mentioned, from what you've said to me. I think you're a perfect example of that. Like, if I can, there's a gentleman audiobook I used to listen to, or a gentleman who wrote books. His name's Grant Cardone. He's a salesman, right? He got told that he had ADHD and he was too hyperactive and couldn't focus in school,
mm,
and got told all those things, and was having a pretty rough life. And then he found out that his energy, all that energy he had built up, was actually his superpower, because then when he got
mm.
into running his own business, he was relentless. I'm wondering, like, do you find parts of your ADHD kind of like a superpower to you when it comes to work? Like, do you find you have boundless amounts of energy to keep doing stuff? I'm assuming you do, because you're working 7 days a week. Like, not many people are working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
am
like,
I off here, or do you think that helps
no, no,
in some degree?
no, you're bang on. Like the first consult I had with my psychiatrist, she was like, "Look, you're definitely ADHD." I was like, "Yeah, sweet." Now that like I got that little bit of an inkling of being like, "Yes, that is what I have." Like looking back, it would have been so much more helpful to know that 10, 12 years ago when I was struggling to sit still in a classroom and focus and learn. Like I know I walked
Mhm.
out of my year 12 exams. I'm like, stuff this. Like
Mm,
that's not what I said to the teacher at the time. I was like, this
mm,
is what I think. I'm out. And she just looked at me, she was just like, you're not going to pass year 12. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, this is not for me. I'm
mm.
done. Like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And sort of looking back, like, if I had known that, I wasn't broken or a messed up kid, like, I didn't,
Mm,
it wasn't for me. Like, I feel like I could have, I don't know, changed my own pathway a little bit, knowing what I know now, I suppose you could say, just in a
mm.
little bit of a roundabout fashion.
Maybe even thought about yourself a bit differently. Were you
Yeah.
hard on yourself in those
Oh,
times?
God,
Like,
yeah.
why am I like this? Why am I thinking like this? And then when
Yeah.
people are bullying you, obviously it makes it worse,
Yeah.
because then
Like,
you've
I
got
was
people
the
reinforcing that
Literally,
behavior.
I was the weird horse girl. Like, I drove a ute. I had it covered in stickers. I competed in barrel races. I played polo cross. Like, I wasn't the cool kid. And like, I looked at all those really, bubbly, energetic, popular girls, and I was just like, why can't I be like that? But then I sort of was
Mm,
like, oh, I don't really want to be. But it was, yeah, the bullying was sort of, it was weird. Like sort of looking back, like I don't really exactly remember. I think like part of my brain's just shut it out because it's a trauma
mm,
response. Where I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. But at the time, like one of my best mates, I think he had a bit of stuff going on at home as well, but he was also being picked on at school because he was a bit different. Looking back now, definitely ADHD, like 100%, weird noises, outgoing as hell. Like
yeah.
he was awesome. Like he was a great guy. Like I loved him to pieces, but he ended up actually committing suicide in year
Sorry to
12.
hear.
Sort of a few months through, and that was really, like, it was really hard to deal with at the time because like as a kid at that age, like you don't really, like for me, like I didn't really
Mm,
understand what kind of had happened, and then I'm sort of looking at that, and that really shook me up because I'm like, okay, he struggled, he couldn't find the help, like
mm,
I'm struggling, I feel like crap, I was never suicidal, but it's like, is that the
Mm,
point I might get to? Like if I don't get the help or that kind of thing. And then it
mm,
was sort of that roundabout fashion where, like you mentioned before, like you turn into a bit of the bully. Like I was involved, I was scared of my bully, so I was involved in a way with him that he was picking on others, and I kind of just laughed and went along with it because I was scared of
mm.
him. And I see this
Yeah.
girl that, we heavily picked on, and she's
Mm,
thriving. Like we were awful. And I hate the fact that I wasn't brave enough to be like, hey, this is actually not okay. So now, like,
mm,
I don't want that to happen again for myself and for
mm.
other kids. So that's sort of a bit of a,
Yeah.
TMI, but yeah,
No,
yeah. So
I
sort of where
thank you for sharing, because that's literally, like, I've never shared this on a
mm,
podcast before, but we I literally was doing the same thing. Like,
yeah,
we were brutal to a kid.
yeah,
And I look back on it, and sometimes, when it, like, you don't have it in your mind, and then
yeah,
it comes back in your mind, and you're like, oh my god, is that
yeah,
part of my life? Is that who I
yeah,
was at that point in time? Like,
mm,
what a dickhead I was.
yeah,
Like, I just think back up, and then I get those thoughts. I'm like, I want to call this guy and apologize,
yeah,
and I'm like, I don't want to remind him
yeah.
also, of like
I
how
need to
stupid
apologize.
we were.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, I
like
need to
for
apologize, but do I
me,
want to apologize for me, or do I want to apologize for him? Because I don't
yeah.
want to traumatize him again by
Oh, it's
some
awful, isn't it?
douchebag.
And then like with
Yeah.
the whole
So,
like running a business thing, like there's been conflicts. Like I don't want to share too much, but like I've had issues with other from adults, women in their
mhm,
50s, 60s, and 30s being just downright awful to me and
mhm,
because of my business. And it's one of those things that I'm like, this is not okay. Like girls should
mm,
support girls and girls should support boys and whatever else, but it's just like for that element of like the whole bullying sides of things, like this is where like when I seen that create the courage, like I'm like this is for me. Like I want to get in there, one, to make it known that you can have the crappiest time of your life and be picked on, but it will be okay. And people say that and you're like, no, it's not, but like you
mm,
can do this. And then you get these in your adult life, for me, for the past 5 years, if not slightly longer, of these women just being awful. Like it's hard to
mm.
get through. So that finding that courage, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite what's going on. So that's sort of
Despite the fear.
yeah, yeah. You just gotta, and
Yeah.
that's why when I watch your first couple of podcasts, I was like, no, I want to get on with this guy. Like this is
Awesome.
what I'm doing.
Awesome, mate. Well, I'm glad you did. Like, seriously, I'm glad you did, because I'm learning from you too, right? Like, it's funny you say that about the older women, right? I heard, I think it
Mm,
was Joe Rogan. I don't know if you've ever listened to Joe Rogan or not, but I listen to him quite a bit. And he talks about, you look at older people and you
mm,
think that, oh, they should know better or they should be better, but they were babies just like us. They were
mm,
kids just like us. And just because they're older doesn't mean they've grown out of
mm,
their behavior patterns. Just
yeah,
just because they're 50, 60, 7 years old doesn't mean they're going to be a good person. They might
mm,
still be that same jealous, uh, you know, I don't know what the word is, but just terrible people. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter what age you are. There's a lot of bad people out there, or people that are
yeah,
jealous. Do you find
yeah.
are they competitors or people that have come as clients? Like, what would be their reason to, like, hate on you or to put you down? Like, have you thought
I
about that?
guess. Well, I think it stems from jealousy. Like, I guess it's more or less those sort of. It's a I feel like like once I turn my frame of mind around from like they're judgy, they're jealous. Like it was just
Mhm.
that they're there to bring me down. Like that's how I felt in the start. I'm like they're doing everything they possibly can to make me feel like crap. So I stop. But I'm
Mm.
like, no, I've got to rise above this. Like it's. I was listening to a podcast the other day because I've got terrible memory. I can't think of the name of it, but it was great. It's about fear. Like fear is
Yeah.
nothing. Just
Yeah.
find your ways to work through it. Like it's and just overcoming that. It's oh yeah. I don't know how to word it.
It,
I'm
it can
looking
be
up.
hard to articulate. It can be definitely
Yeah,
hard to articulate. I tell you
I'm like
what,
I'm
but I know
trying
what
to
you
write
mean. Like,
this down. No, it's
I
gone. I
have
can't.
to write stuff down. I have
Yeah,
to write stuff down. You
I've
know
got
what?
it all
It'll
like
come to
blue
you
tacked on
after
the wall above me on the
we'll
window.
finish the podcast, and you're going to be like, that was it. That happens to me all the time. Don't
Yeah.
worry. Don't worry.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's true. When you learn that fear it's just all in your head. It's
Mm,
like, it's just all in your head that, oh, it's just me worrying about what other people will think, or unless it's
yeah.
physical fear or present
Mm,
danger,
yeah.
all fear like that. Like, I still get nervous before doing a podcast sometimes. I'm
Mm,
like, oh, am I going to mess up? Am I going to forget the right, I'm going to forget the questions. Am I going
yeah.
to do the intro wrong? Which I do all the time. I just got to accept it. Like, it
And look,
happens all the time.
I was quite surprised at myself because, like, I think that, like, I've always suffered from anxiety. Like, my border collie Fly, she was my assistance dog for probably 2 or so years. Like, I would go into public and I would just have a full on meltdown. I can remember going into a takeaway shop with my dad to get dinner, and like, this is when I was in a really bad spot before Fly moved into the assistant dog program. And one of my triggers, so a fella that I went to school with, he was never directly involved with my bullying, but it was that trigger connection. He walked in, didn't say anything, didn't look. I seen him, and promptly like that, in tears, meltdown, panic attack, and I had to leave. And my poor dad was just like, "What is going on?" Like, and that was sort of the sign for him to really go, hang on, something's actually wrong, and like he's battled with his mental health as well. So it was like it's one of those things that you just go, heck, like, I'm not okay. And it's that
Mm,
that fear element that you just sort of find ways around it. And like when I got Fly, well, so I got her into the program when I was working with veterans and their assistance dog, and Craig at the time that had Mish's mates, he was bless him, we were, in the office doing some stuff, and I was a bit on edge and whatever else. I think we were getting ready to go to Hobart together for a meeting, and like I was the first time meeting these veterans face to face. Like I had plenty of chats and conversations over text and stuff, and I was like getting really edgy, and I broke out into the sweats. And Fly, she was with me. She came over and just leaned against me, and like I
mm.
instinctively just patted her and it calmed me down. And Craig's just sitting across from me, like looking at me. He's like, "You're not okay." And I'm like, "Duh. Like, how long did it take you to figure that one out?" But he's like, "No,
Well,
no,
if he's
like,
a guy, we're pretty slow.
yeah, true." Um, but he was like, "Your dog has just done something phenomenal to you without you even asking for it or you knowing. Like, we need to
Mm,
get you the help you need. Like, let's put Fly into the program that we're working with our veterans for." And I'm like, "No, no, no. Like, I can't have an assistance dog in a veteran company. Like, you've got veterans that have gone and done insanely, I don't know how the right word is without sounding offensive, but like they've done big things. They've come back from, a lot of trauma. I can't be
mm,
like this 24-year-old girl going, I've got an assistance dog when I'm around, veterans that have gone through so much." And he's like, "No, no, like you need one."
mm.
So yeah, getting her into that really helped. Like it was just being able to take her with me and, be able to go out in public with her.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there was people looking because there's obviously a dog in the supermarket. I had a lot of comments from, I probably most of them come from the older generation. And one lady, bless her cotton socks, she come up to me and she's like, "Oh, your dog's, that's lovely that you're training an assistance dog." I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, this is Fly," and Fly's just sitting there like, "Oh, come on, let's go." And she said, "Oh, do you mind if I touch her?" And I went through the whole no, no, she's working kind of thing. And Fly at that point was trained to put herself in a position behind me, so we could keep her safe and whatever else. And
Mhm.
we're talking with this lady, and I was just like, "Come on, like I just want to get out of here." And she goes, "Oh, how old are you?" And I think I was 25 or 26 at the time. I must have been 25. And I said, and she's just like, "Oh, so, you're training the dog for someone else." I'm like, "No, no, like she's mine. This is, owner trained program." "Oh, you're too young to need one of those." And I was sort of like, "Oh, okay, sorry. Well, sorry, it's only old
It's
people that, need help, but yeah." And then she
it's
went
that
on,
generation, mate. It's that generation.
yeah. And then she was like, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Oh, well, anxiety, depression, pretty dark places." "Oh, you're too pretty to have issues." And I was like, "Oh, sorry." Like, "Whoa, miraculously cured." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like,
I'm
thanks
all
for the
better now.
yeah, like it was a very kind compliment, but I was like, "Huh, cool." But yeah, that was like in that moment, like if didn't have Fly, obviously that conversation wouldn't have happened, but I wouldn't have been able to have that with a random person in a public place. And the whole time, Fly's just like leaning up against me because she could sense that panic was there, and she just like could just ground
Mm,
me back. She was a once in a lifetime kind of dog. Like, oh,
wow.
it's tough to talk about, but yeah,
Yeah,
she just knew what I
that's
needed.
crazy. It's
Oh,
it's the relationship with like dogs like that and their owners.
mm,
It's magical, right? How they can sense
yeah.
it. Like
And
there's
I
dogs
love
like I've
just
seen videos of.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, and I just love like working. I was predominantly working with the veterans at the time, and it was Mish's mates. And one of the biggest standouts for me was we were working with a gentleman who's border collie, and me and one of the other guys at the time. We used to do assessments in like a non-confrontational way. So we'd be like, "Hey, we're going to catch up, just do a check-in, and whatever else," and then be like, "Oh, by the way, you've actually passed your assessment." So we were doing that for
Oh
this
wow.
gentleman down Hobart, and he ducked into the loo and left his dog behind. And you could just see his body language change when he had to leave his dog, because at this point she didn't have her first jacket, so we were just sort of doing like the pre kind of work leading up to the first L plates. And I said to Brendan, my other trainer at the time, I was like, this dog's like amazing. He's done a really good job. Like I think he's ready. And Brendan agreed. And he's like, yep, let's put the dog in a jacket. So we dressed Charlie up in her coat, and the gentleman came back out, and she was just sitting there with the jacket on. And it was just one of the most moving moments to see this, 60-year-old, big, tough, burly, bearded man sobbing that he had finally got to the point in his life where, he had the help he needed and the support from his dog in like
Mm.
a formal way. It was just, and their bond is just amazing. Like, oh, it's just
Wow.
next level. Like and my
So,
assistance dog clients that I have now, like they're just amazing. It's just next
yeah,
level. Like, there's no words to explain that what that dog does for someone. It's
yeah.
just
Well,
impossible.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, I was gonna ask, like, um, is it like what is it that they like? Is it just the comfort that they give? Is it the fact that they've know they've got someone there with them? Like, what's the I don't really understand. Like, how would you explain it to a layman who doesn't understand like the comfort that they bring? Like, is it
Oh,
just
look,
that you've got the companion there with you? Is that or that
it's
like they're a
hard to
calming influence?
it's hard to describe because like every dog and handler have a different bond and sort of like essentially different reason for that need. Like my young fella that I'm working with at the moment, his dog is essentially more for confidence to get him back at school, help him through those
Okay.
moments. And like I've taken a step back from the assisted dog work, so I simply just don't have the time to dedicate like what they need from me at this moment. So I feel awful for the poor Alicia at Care Dogs because I'm the only one up here on the coast. Oh, there's two of us on the coast. Sorry, poor Emma. But like we both work with our dog business as another job, so it's that moment where
Mhm.
like I've taken a step back because I just simply don't have the time. But every dog is different and they have a different purpose, and it's that connection and that bond that dog gives that owner more or less for
Mm,
confidence. But it's you can't explain it because every person will have a different perspective. So like I know that
mm,
this young guy with his dog that we're trying to get he's training up confidence up and all that kind of thing. So essentially he can go back to school. He's going to have a different take on it altogether. So
mm.
it's hard to
I guess
explain.
no, that's fair enough. I'm just thinking about it now. I would thinking from my perspective, is it the love? You've got
Mm.
someone that loves you there, and that's what can make you feel more confident or feel more safe. That's how I would think it would be. Like you've got something
Yeah,
there with you that loves you, you love it, and love can calm you down
I
in
think
that
so.
sense, or it can give you that confidence.
Like for me, definitely,
Yeah.
like losing a fly was just like I had four other dogs at home at the time, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't the same. Like that,
Mm.
she was that love. Like all my other dogs, the two of them are in here out cold. Obviously, there's a connection. But yeah, it's just they do give you. Again, it's hard to explain. Like you feel it for yourself. You
Yeah,
can't.
the love.
Yeah, you can't put it into perspective. Well, for me, like I can't explain fully what fly meant to me on the level that someone is going to be like, oh yeah, no, I get that. It's a
Yeah, and
personal.
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough, and that's the beauty of animals, right? Like
Oh God, yeah.
We had a Jack Russell Terrier
Mm.
named Kiki, and that
Yeah.
when we lost her, that hit me hard.
Yeah.
She actually had a lot of look. It's a terrible story. We went away. We went away to Tassie actually for 3 weeks. Or no, was it Vietnam? We went away. This is many years ago. Been a long time since we've had a holiday, but we went away and we put her in a kennel for because we had
Mm.
no one else to look after her. When we came back, she was never the same.
Mm.
Hid under chairs, was just never the same. And unfortunately, because she was never the same, she said when we took her to the vet, they said she had a lot of anxiety
Yeah.
and was just traumatized somehow. Then she tore her Achilles and or
Mm.
tore like her back leg, and they're like, the way your dog is, we can't confine her for a long period of time. And it was devastating. It was pretty heartbreaking, and we had to let her
Yeah.
go, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But like, uh, so I just remember bawling my eyes out, like
Yeah.
for just
Yeah.
bawling my eyes out when we lost her. And then after that, I was like, I don't know if I can do it again. Like we're
Yeah.
at a stage now. Sometimes when my daughter's like, she wants a dog, she says she wants a dog, and then one minute she wants one, one minute she doesn't. Every time she says she wants a dog, I'm like, oh god, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I can do
Yeah.
this. All those thoughts start entering my mind because I
It
just start thinking
does.
my brain will go to the loss.
That
Eventually,
was
I'm going
one
to
of
lose it,
the
and I don't know.
We said that on the way home because we ended up rushing her down
Really?
to Hobart to the emergency clinic, and my partner drove down and back, and it was, well, how we didn't get booked for speeding, I don't know. But on the way back, his dog at the time was unwell, and we like unfortunately had to say goodbye to her 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later or something. And I said, I can't go through this again. And he's like, well, you're going to have to. And I was like, oh, hell. And like, I wasn't coping at all with losing her. And I'm like, I need something to focus on. Like, I think it was just like a hyperfixation at the moment. I'm like, I need something to focus on. Like, how am I going to get myself through this? So I'm like, let's get a puppy. That's going to be a great focus for me. A little bit of a science project for like a learning perspective. Since becoming like a formal professional dog trainer, like I didn't actually have a puppy. Like I have a very
Mm,
severe case for like a trauma rescue dog. So like, it's just that level that I wanted to like learn more as well. But I went and purchased a puppy, and I
yeah.
remember I got to finish work, picked her up from the clinic because they know the litter come in for vaccinations, and I had her in the car, and I rang my best friend, and I was just like, "What have I done?" And she's like, "What's like?" I was sobbing through the phone, and she's like, "What's wrong?" She thought another one had been put down,
Oh,
and I'm like, "I've
geez.
just got this puppy." Like she knew it was happy, and I'm like, "I've just got this puppy. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Like I can't do this." And she was very down the line, and she's like, "You've got a piece of paper on your wall. You're fine." And she's the kind of friend that
Right.
everyone needs. She's like, quit your shit, move on. But like
Yeah.
getting that puppy, it really helped. And she's insane. Like I'm not gonna hide it from anyone. I tell all my clients, I'm like, she's chaos. She's laying perfectly on the floor right now, still because it's bedtime. But she's insane. Like Cyclone Rory is what we call her. But she's exactly what I need to help heal. Like she's brought so
Yeah.
much joy back into the life, and helped us both. Like when we lost
Amazing.
like my partner's dog, he was, I think, having, he won't admit it, but having her there as that distraction element was really it helped him as well.
Yeah.
Immensely. Like yeah, she was what, as a family, what we needed, and even the other dogs as well. Though they needed that little bit of extra distraction, I suppose you could say. um
Mm.
I feel like
Because it
it's
affects the other
definitely,
animals too, right? They know something's not right. They know
yeah,
someone's gone, and yeah, you
yeah.
can feel it through them too, right?
Well, the
So,
night we got home, poor Eric, so he's my rescue boy. He's come from a very questionable background. Like he's got some pretty serious trauma and abuse that's happened. Like we've worked through it and he's overcome it and he's a great boy. But Fly was always, well, no, she was a bit of a bitch. Like everyone did what she wanted, and no one put a foot out of
mm,
place. Like if that cat was on this cat stand and he jumped off, she'd be like, back up, and they would just listen. So she was all, yeah, she was very bossy. But when I brought Eric home for like his temporary foster that clearly failed, she was just like, you listen to me, bro. And he did everything she said. Like if he wasn't allowed into the
mm.
kitchen, he wasn't allowed. So for
Wow.
the poor guy, that first, 3-4 months of her not being here, he was quite like he'd walk in, it's like say here into the office, he'd wander in and be like, like, can I come in? And it's like, you can like come in, bro, it's fine. Um, but yeah, that like the dogs, they knew, like I think because we went and I
Mm,
was so emotional, we come home, like it was just all happened so fast. I think
mm,
they definitely are affected, for sure. And like the changes were huge. And then of course,
yeah.
3 weeks later we're all a wreck and I bring home a new puppy. I'm like, surprise guys, let's deal with this.
Let's go again. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
here we go again. And that's the
Oh,
thing, like I think of it regularly and I'll just randomly burst into tears and I'm like, oh my God, I have to go through this again, like four
yeah.
times. And
Hard
then
look.
add the cats and
Well, I look at it this way: the joy that you get
yeah,
from having them in your life, like that's
yeah.
just, we decided that we wouldn't do it until our
Mm,
daughter was old enough to help us
yeah, yeah.
look after the dog.
Mm.
Unfortunately, she's had a few bad run-ins with dogs at the park,
Oh
so
no.
sometimes she's like, yeah, she gets a little scared. Like when she was a baby, a French bulldog ran up and bumped her over and knocked her over, and that scared her.
Oh gosh.
And then another time it happened again. It's happened like 3 times. It's like, this is
Yeah,
weird.
right.
She's like a magnet to dogs coming up and knocking her over.
Wiping around. Oh
Um,
gosh.
but she'll see dogs and she'll like, I want a dog, I want to have a
Mm,
puppy. And we came close to getting a French bulldog,
yeah.
and then we didn't. But I see one in the future. It's just how far in the future. I think she
Mm,
needs to be ready. And I think when
yeah.
she's ready this time, I'll be ready.
Yeah.
I think we'll
Absolutely.
be ready when she's ready. We just got to make
Yeah.
sure that we're ready to
Mm,
just to put the effort in. Because when we had our last dog, we didn't train our last dog, and rookie mistake.
yeah.
Jack Russell, not
Yeah.
trained.
Pocket rockets.
She was a savage. I tell you what, we were
Yeah.
walking in our neighborhood once, and she got off the leash, ran into the middle of the road, and stood down a car, like a car,
Oh,
like lucky the guy saw her. He literally had to come down to a stop. This little Jack Russell, and she's just like jacked up, just like barking at the car. And I'm like, you're crazy. If he didn't see you,
yeah,
you're done. Like
yeah,
she was a psycho. She was an absolute psycho.
yeah.
And
I love the
that was on us.
personalities of the Jacks. I really do. Like
Um,
I love my border collies, and I don't think I'll ever. Oh, look, I love all dogs, but border collies and Italian greyhounds. I'm not gonna lie, they're my favorite. But the
yeah,
Jack
okay.
Russells, they're definitely a weak spot. There's a client at the clinic at the
Psychos.
moment. She's hey,
They're psychos. They're
yeah, yeah.
psychos.
There's a lady. She's a Jack Russell breeder, and she brought the bitch in yesterday for a blood test to start the process. And I'm like, uh oh, this is bad.
Oh no.
It's like no, like
Oh no.
blinkers
Yeah.
on. We're not looking.
I tell you what, like I used to throw the tennis ball to because we've got a pretty big
Mm,
backyard. So I'd throw the tennis ball. I'll tire you out, right? I'm
no,
going to tire you out so you can chill. She got stronger and would
yeah,
get fitter. And like the more I would throw, the more fit she would get, and
yeah,
the stronger she would get, and the longer. I reckon I
yeah,
stood out there for like an hour, hour and a half one time. I'm like, are you not tired, dog? Like
yeah,
your tongue's hanging down to the ground. You're just an absolute savage. So I'm like, there's nothing I can do to. I used to call her the Energizer, like
yeah,
Energizer Bunny, because she just would not stop ever with
yeah,
anything. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
next time maybe we get more of a chill dog. I'm thinking
yeah.
maybe like my daughter wants a Pomeranian. I'm like, I don't know, Pomeranian maybe like yeah. We'll see. We'll
That's
see.
fine. There's
They're
ways
like
around.
a gajillion dollars. They're
Like I
like a
have border collies,
gajillion
and
dollars.
we don't play fetch. They don't go for big runs. Like work the brains, not the
Really?
body. Yep, yep. I don't play
Yeah,
fetch.
okay.
One of Eric's main positive interactions with people before I got him was fetch. That was like his biggest positive connection to humans. So for him, like he found comfort in a tennis ball, and we had them floating around the house just because they squeak, and the dogs like to run around and squeak them. Um,
Hmm.
so when he was having a panic or he was not sure or something, he'd just go get the tennis ball and be like, throw it. And I'm like, no,
Mm.
no, we don't have obsessive behaviors in this household, buddy. Like, no more fetch. And yeah, yeah,
He's adjusted.
he's adjusted. He's fine. He's literally asleep, like, dead to the world. Oh, Rory's in the camera just. But we just work the brains, and there's ways around it.
That's where me, someone who knows nothing, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go through the ball to you. And
Yeah,
then I get
and
stuck throwing the
I
bloody
shock
ball.
so many clients when they're I've had one recently. They've got I think it's a German Shepherd. I'm probably wrong. My memory's awful, but I'm pretty sure it's a German Shepherd. And they're like, oh, we want it to play fetch. And I'm like, think of your vet bills later in life. It's probably not a good idea, backs, hips, knees, all that kind of thing. And they're like, oh, okay, like,
Mhm.
what do we do? So we went through the whole process and, they were fine, sent work booked, all good. But then I, turned around and said, like, because they said to me, like, you've got border collies. What do you do with them? And I'm like, honestly, not much. We train, we work our brains, we do our obedience, tricks, scent work. And they're like, oh, how often do you play fetch? And I'm like, once a month if we go to the beach and they're in the water, and
Wow.
it's like two throws, and they were just like, just nothing. They were
Wow.
just so shocked, and I'm like, I'm not kidding. And yeah, they
Yeah.
were like, well,
Well,
how do you get their exercise? And I'm like, we walk and brain. Like,
yeah, that's so
yeah,
interesting because I mean, the layman who doesn't know any, like I don't know any of that. So it's like so interesting for me to hear because I think back to all the mistakes we made
they're
with
not
our dog. I'm
mistakes.
like, we just, yeah, well, we
Yeah,
weren't smart about how we raised her. I guess we just let her rule the roost, and then she thought she
no,
was tougher than me, and then she thought she was the boss,
that's
and
fine.
then she thought she was my alpha. I swear,
Oh,
I'm like, you think you're the alpha, don't you? You think
we
you're
don't
the
worry about.
alpha.
Yeah,
So this
no,
time I'm like, if we get a dog, we're going to train it. It's going to be trained, and it'll be. I think our lives will be
do
easier.
brain things. It's good fun, and like you
Yeah.
go dog nerd level. Like it's teaching a dog a simple thing of like a nose touch. I guarantee no, they're both asleep. I was gonna be like, I'll show you, but they won't do it. Like that's the most fun thing. Like in puppy school, on the first week with the puppies, I'm like, right, we're gonna do this and this, and now we're gonna learn a nose touch, and all the owners are like, eh. And like you explain it, and I'm like, I promise, like this is like the most fun thing you can teach your dog, and they're like, oh, okay. But then they start to do it, and the puppies learn it, and then by week 4 they're coming back, and they're all like every single person is like, look what my puppy can do, and they walk in, they're like touch, and the pup just straight in,
That's cool.
and once they're like
That's
that,
cool.
they start to see the benefits of tricks and brains and working that working their noggins through these things. Like it's phenomenal. It's just so good.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's like you're so the way you talk about it, I can see your passion
Yeah, a little
for like
bit.
training and helping. Yeah, but that's awesome because you found what you're so passionate about, and that's one of the it's something that I admire in people who know what they want to do or know what brings them passion in life. Because it took me so long to figure out what it was that I really wanted. So
Mm,
I always admire people who figure it out before I did. You know. Now I did want to ask you about so running your business.
mhm,
I guess you just kind of started getting into it.
yep,
Um, you know, once you figured that you had enough people, I guess you must have had enough people coming to you. Where you're like, oh,
mm,
maybe I can actually start a business here.
mhm.
Can you think back on like was it quite hard to get started, or did you find once you got into it, you were just kind of it was okay, it was easy, or you know I guess I like to learn what it was like for you getting started in that first year or 2 years or whatever, because you're a veteran now, 5 years, you're deep in the game. So
Time retirement.
I'm expecting I'm expecting lots of knowledge here about how you got started on it. Like, I guess was it easy or was it hard? Like, what some of the things that
Looking
stick out.
back, like it wasn't. I wouldn't say it's hard. Like it most. Oh, honestly, all of my client base is word of mouth. Like I'll occasionally pop up on Facebook and be like, "Hey, calling more good boys and girls. Like I've got a couple of gaps that I need to fill." But people just started like you get those few that roll through, mostly from like that puppy school level, or they've got
Mhm.
a bit of a an issue with their puppy biting, or that kind of stuff through the clinic, and it's like, okay, this is what we can do. We'll work through it, and then they just kept coming in. Mostly just like word of mouth. It was just one after the other. And then now it's 3 or 4 inquiries a day for privates, behavior
Wow,
consults. It's, yeah. And like, I love it. I do. And I
that's
just sit back
awesome.
sometimes and I'm just like, how does this happen? Like, how have I got what I have like on my own?
Hmm.
But yeah, they like in the start, I guess it was like looking back now what it was definitely slower, like 1 or 2 classes a month, like max.
Hmm.
Whereas now, I've got 5 puppy classes booked for the month of March. And that's not
Hmm.
looking into all the others as well. So it's just the start was probably slow, but I guess that's pretty normal for any business. You're right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so for any business starting up, it takes a bit, but
Yeah.
once it takes off, like it takes off.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like that's like an organic growth. I think word of mouth, especially, is one of the best
Mm,
ways you can do it.
mm,
A lot of people put money into advertising and doing stuff like that, but if you can get out there and talk to people yourself or
mm,
have people get referred to you, so we call it
yes.
referrals in sales, like
Mm,
getting referral business.
yeah.
And that only comes from you doing a good job, right? That only comes from you being genuine and actually helping people because then they want to go and talk. Like most people in life want to share um, good people that they find. So just by doing a good job and being passionate about it, you get people selling it for you, and
Yeah.
that's the trick. That's where I think a lot of businesses fail is they want the business, but they don't put in the effort, or they're not good at customer service, or whatever it is. They just want
Mm,
the money.
yeah.
They don't last long because they're not doing the one thing. If they just did the thing and put in the effort and gave good service,
Mm,
you would get the people, word of
yeah.
mouth and people coming back to you. So
Yeah.
I think that's just, you should be proud of that because
Mm,
that's something that you didn't necessarily need to learn. You just had it in
mm,
you, I guess, because you are so passionate about actually helping animals
mm,
and helping dogs. So I think that's a good point that people should take notice of. If someone's listening to this, look at your passion. That passion led you to want to do a good job, which leads to more people bringing business to you,
mm,
so you can actually grow and get to the point of where you are now, I guess.
yeah.
So like when you got into it, like obviously you had to get an ABN and do all that type of stuff. Was all that stuff difficult for you, or did you find like did you get good help with that, or like doing your
Um,
taxes? Like 'cause that was something that
oh,
got me. I'm like, Jesus, taxes and
yeah, yuck.
GST and all that shit. Like I'm like, what? What is all this?
Yeah, look, the whole tax sides of things hurts my head. I just go to the accountant. Here's my disaster zone of like CSV. Deal with it. Send me the bill when you're done. But yeah, starting out
Yeah.
with the ABN and insurances and all that, like it was. Dad did a fair bit, like around the ABN. A good friend like made my logo for me. Insurances,
Cool.
I've got a really good connection with a well-known trainer. She's actually over in WA now, so if you do get a puppy, let me know.
Okay.
I will send you her way.
Hook me up.
Um,
Awesome.
yeah, she's amazing. God, she's been there's been 2 very inspirational and just downright lovely people from the start. So yeah, Carly and Rita, like they've just phenomenal. ladies. Just I could not again not be here without them. But yeah, so the ABN stuff, Dad did all that because numbers, it just hurts my head. But yeah, like
Yeah.
it sort of all just unfolded as needed. And like insurance, as I just said to Carly, I was like, hey, I'm starting out, like I don't know what to do. Like obviously I need insurance. Who do you go through? Like who do you suggest? And she just sent me a list, and I just went, cool, that'll do.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was that support from like her starting out was really helpful. So between her and Dad, it was pretty straightforward, really.
That's cool. That's cool. And I think a lot of people forget that, right? Having good
Mm,
support systems or not being
mm,
scared to ask for help. Like
yeah,
that's something that I've had to learn over the years is like, you know what, just you don't have to have all the answers.
mm,
You just got to be willing to get the answers.
yeah,
So a big thing I try to do is, okay, I don't know the answers. I'm going to go and ask somebody and not
mm,
be too like, as a guy, I find a lot of guys, a lot of, as a man, a lot of people don't like to ask for help or they want to act like they know everything, right? Or they know what they're doing. They don't want to look like they don't know what they're doing.
yeah,
But for me, I'm like, you know what? I would rather succeed than not. So I'm just going to
mm,
have to accept that I don't know everything, but I can find out. And I
yeah,
think that's an important thing that people should learn. And it sounds like what you've had some good mentors. Would you call them
yeah.
mentors? Like, have you looked into mentors and things like that? Is that something that you're
Yes,
into?
and like probably not so much as like a formal term because like essentially from when I started, I had the support of I had the support networks of these amazing people, but at the same time, I had the backlash and I don't know if harassment's the right word, but like the frustrating sides from other people that was like it was
Hmm.
complete like polar opposites. Like this was awful, this
Mm.
was great. And just having so Rita, I went to puppy school with her when I was like teeny tiny bopper with mum and dad's first dogs and like right through classes with her. So she's always been like not so much close with the family, but like we've always known her. She's always been there for us with the animals, and we've always supported her organizations and things like that she's done. So when I first started getting into puppy school, I was like hey Rita, this is what I want to do. Like, do you think it's a good idea? Can you help me? And she's like, yep, come over. And I went over and we sat down at her dining table and she just went through everything. She gave me like a stack of paperwork, all her resources, and just was amazing. So those first few years, like I was constantly like messaging her, being like, "Hey, I've got this question. Like, what would you do here?" And she just no questions asked, just happy to help. Just everything. She was just amazing. And then same with Carly. Like it was just one of those things where I'd get a bit of a tricky case that I was like, I actually don't know what I'm doing. Like, hey, what would you suggest? Like, can I send them to you? And Carly was always like, no, you've got this and would talk me through it. And it was just having that support network. And even now, like I still bounce things off both of them from time to time. But since doing my Cert 4 a couple of years ago, like I met a really good bunch of supportive women and men that just like I've been talking to one for the past couple of days, like Sarah's. I've just she's got so much knowledge and she's so passionate about what she does, but she's always like, oh no, like I can't step on your toes. You're better than me, and I'm like, no, you're not. Like you're amazing. Like trust yourself. So like we bounce stuff off each other all the time, and like it's really nice now having that support network that I didn't have, fully from the
Mhm.
start. So it's come later in life. I wish I had it from the start, but back then like I didn't know
Mm.
anyone, and because of the negative connections I had when I first started to other people in the industry, like I was too
Mm.
scared to reach out and be like, this is what
Mm.
I want to do. So for me, like linking back into that, creating the courage, like I'll get an inquiry come through from a year 12 teacher. She's like, I've got a student that wants to, look into animal studies. Do you do work placement? And I'm like, absolutely, bring them up. Like,
That's cool.
send them up. Like, I don't want others to feel like I did and still do. Like, some days, like, I'll be sent something
Yeah.
or, a weird email comes through and you're just like, who is that? And like, I don't want people to
Mm.
feel like that, especially those young ones out there. So, yeah, linking back to that whole courage thing, it's just so important.
Yeah. Well, it really is. Like I was just thinking about it then as you were saying, like when you started getting these older women, like just being
Doing weird
dicks.
shit.
That's the only way to put it. Just being straight up dicks.
Weird.
Um,
Yep.
it must have brought back some trauma from school, I would have
Mm.
imagined.
Yeah.
Getting into that, it's so interesting. It never leaves us, right? As we get older, like, you still, I recently had to deal with it at a workplace when I was
Yeah.
managing the last year, my manager, I had to deal with a guy that was just, for whatever reason, just hated me, didn't
Yeah.
like me,
Yeah.
didn't want anything to do with me, hated everybody. And I'm just like, dude, like, why are you like
Hmm.
this? Like, and it
Mm.
come to find out that he just thought he should have the job over me is
Yeah.
one of the things I think was part of it, or he just didn't like my style or whatever.
And
Um,
I've worked in
yeah,
workplaces like that. Like I'm so lucky to be in environments now where like it doesn't happen. But I have worked previously in clinics that like it's just that level of toxicity that people bring to the
mm,
table. It's like we're all adults. We're all here for the same reasons. Move on. Like it's
yeah, that's
just
right.
does my head
The
in.
thing I've learned from that, it does. And the thing I've tried to learn over the years is like that is going to hold them back in
Mm,
life. I'm not going to let them hold me back.
yeah.
And it's just a good reminder to be like, I think it's a good reminder when you meet people like that. It's like,
Mm,
well, you're just like, for instance, here's a crazy story. We went to Bunnings today to get some. My wife got some plants, and I had to pick up some
mm,
stuff. And the woman there is an older lady, and she was just rude, like straight up, just rude and just arrogant, and just didn't want to be there. And my wife was getting upset, like my wife Lani, and she's getting upset about it. I'm like, look, she's just she just hates life.
mm,
Like, maybe if you're in your 60s and you're working the checkout at Bunnings, maybe you'd hate your life too. I don't know what it is. Like, some people are just going to be like that. It's just a good reminder that we're
mm.
not like that. We're
Yeah.
not going to be like that. And I just try to use those examples of, I just kind of laugh at them now. Like, I try, doesn't always work.
Yeah.
But I try to run myself. I'm just like, oh, you're unhappy. Like, hurt people
Yeah.
hurt people. Like,
Yeah. And
you're sad
that's exactly
and
it.
you're upset.
And like
Like, you're hurt.
coming to that realization yourself. It's like it's a big sort of eye-opening experience because yeah, I've come to that recently with a girl I know, and I was just like, you are just so downright miserable in your entire life. Like
Yeah.
you're just going to bring like you're 37, babe. Come on, like this is ridiculous. Just because your life is not how you think it should be doesn't mean you have to bring everyone else down. And like
Yes.
talking through that with a younger, slightly younger girl that was having issues with this one person, like I'm just looking at this poor girl and I was like, you are not the issue here. Like she's miserable, you're
Hmm.
thriving. It's just she's going to bring you down and make herself feel better. And that's
Yes.
just part of it. I guess it's part of business ownership. I know like where I go to get like I've got friends that do eyebrows and hairdressing and stuff like that, and they all have the same things. Like it's across the board.
It's everywhere.
It's
It's
everywhere.
everywhere and everything. It's in gyms, it's in sales, it's in management, it's in
Yeah.
everything, unfortunately. Took me a
Yeah.
long time to learn that.
Mm.
Like, for a long time, I thought, oh, big companies must have it figured out. They know what they're doing. And then you get there and you realize no one has it figured out and no one knows what they're doing. And
Yeah.
everybody's just trying to survive and get ahead,
Yeah.
and do whatever it takes to get ahead, I guess. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's definitely a big thing. But the cool thing about working for yourself is you can choose who you want to work with,
Yeah.
on who you want to work for, which
And
is,
if
I
if
think,
someone does
awesome.
something wrong or you're not happy with how things are done, it's your own fault. Like I get frustrated at myself so many times. Like I've forgotten to make the puppy packs up. Like I come into the office tonight, I went, oh my god, I haven't made the puppy packs for the weekend, and I was like, oh, but then I couldn't be frustrated because it's just me. Like,
Yeah, yeah, who's going
yeah,
to tell you off? Like, who's going to tell you
exactly.
off? No one's going to tell you off.
um, yeah, like it's yeah. So it's just me.
Yeah,
But
I
like it
think
is, yeah,
that that's one thing that I love about running your own business now, even though it's scary and to do all that type of
yeah,
thing. It's just the not having to deal with, not having to try to accommodate, I guess
yeah.
would be the word, negative people. I'd
Mm,
rather take the risks of doing everything for yourself than having to spend my days working with people who are just, hate life.
mm,
Because I want to enjoy life. I want to learn. I'm a person, like, I
mm,
want to learn. I constantly want to grow. I
mm,
want to be better. I want to show my daughter how, I want to teach my daughter things that I didn't learn when I was younger, and I want to set her up for life better. And, I want to be around people like that. I don't want to
mm,
be around talking about Married at
mm,
First Sight all day and every day, or whatever it is, like talking
yeah,
about, or like, Survivor. We used to watch Survivor a lot. So I'm like, and I still like Survivor. Let's put it, I still like Survivor, but we don't watch it as much. But I don't want to spend my day talking about it all the time. I'm trying to talk about, I want to talk about, I've been getting into politics and learning about how that affects our day-to-day lives, and
yeah.
that takes up a lot of time too. So it's
Mm,
just, I'm trying to shift my focus from, I guess, getting caught up in just negative stuff and get
mm.
focused on positive stuff, growth
And it
stuff.
brings you down
um,
too. Like I was listening, like again, that podcast, I can't remember, but there's something about like the if you hang around those negative people, you become that
mm,
negative person. And like I've worked in workplaces where like 90% of the team are negative as hell, and it's just like, well, now I'm one of them. So
yeah,
yeah, it's hard to I guess overcome that and work through it. But once you realize it, it's like wow.
Yeah, it's like an opening of your eyes because I mean I've been there before. I've been in that routine, in that pattern
Mm,
before, and it wasn't until like I realized I'm like, hey, what am I doing? Like, is this going to be what life is always, or is there
mm,
something else? And I think a lot of people don't know where to start because I didn't know where to start. A lot of people don't know where to start when it comes to making a change or wanting to make a change because
yeah.
everybody can change. Like
Mm,
everybody can change if they want to change or if they want to make a change. Like I've had people tell me that they can't change. I'm like, no, no, you can change.
okay.
It's up to you. You can definitely change. You know, look, two people here both didn't do good in school. Like grades 11 and 12, I hardly ever went, and my
Yeah,
parents
me
didn't even
too.
know. They didn't even
Yeah.
ask. Like I didn't. I wasn't even
I think my
going.
mum only found out recently when I got my P's. Like, I'd go to school, I'd get my name ticked off, and I'd come home. And if she didn't know that, sorry, mum, you know now. Nothing wrong with like 12 years later. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get growled at now.
But it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
well.
my mum's probably gonna have a cry. I
Yeah,
did care. I did care what you're doing. Look, mum. Look, I get it.
it's happened.
Okay,
It's
but I
fine.
didn't go. Yeah.
I
Look,
turned
my
out okay.
nickname was 2 days a week. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm doing okay now. We're
yeah,
doing all right. Okay,
literally.
get over it.
Oh gosh.
But you're right. Like life. There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be people who want to bring you down. I think the creating the courage for me is about just no one else, unless they're physically trying to hurt you. No one,
Yeah.
no words or people's attitudes can stop you from doing what you want to do. And I think that's the
Mm,
biggest thing is you've got to create it. Like it's not going to
mm,
find you. I put it down to working out. Like I used to work out a lot, and one thing that I really learned through working out a lot was it's not going to magic like getting in good shape and getting a good physique or whatever doesn't just magically happen. You actually have to do it. You have to
mm,
put in the time, put in the work, and I think that was where my mind shift started to change. Was like, oh, it's the same with working out. Is with anything, you're not just going to magically going to get courage to go and do this thing. You just have to do it. And courage generally comes after you've done it,
yeah.
after you've gone. So you got to do it scared shitless, and then the
Mhm.
courage comes after. So that's it's good to hear that like you've overcome a lot from what you've told me. Your story of going through the bullying, going through your needing the support dog. You've overcome a lot, mate.
Mm.
And I think you should be really proud of that. Now, in that, I did want to ask you: do you have like any daily practices that you do, or is there things that you do in your routine, daily, weekly, that keeps you on track, or is that something that you're still, I guess, learning?
Look, I'm not going to lie. Most of my day to day is just winging it. I know what I've
Yep.
got my schedule. I know that I've got work. I know I've got clients, and then other than that, I just wing it. I
Yep.
try and I've lately been trying to get off just aimlessly scrolling social media. It's not working. Not going to lie. TikTok. I'll
We
be
all
on
struggle
TikTok.
with it.
Oh man, it's bad. But
We all
yeah, it's
struggle.
yeah, and like I've just gone. Sorry, he can't get into his blanket. He's going to bark about it. I may have to fix that. Bless him.
Oh, good.
But like I've just been trying to find like new hobbies and things like that that I can do. Like it's just the motivation sides of things for what I do for work, which I hate saying for work because it doesn't feel like work because it's what I love.
Hmm.
Like that motivation, it's more about like knowing that each week and every day someone needs professional help, they need guidance, and I can
Hmm.
be that person that helps them achieve those goals. Like that's probably mostly what I get the most, like the biggest kick out of. And then
Yeah.
like just that new parents, the new puppy parents. Oh, hang on, I'm gonna have to fix him.
Yeah. Yeah. You better help him. I can see him. He's just like he's not
Yeah,
happy.
he's got to be tucked into bed. Um, he's got his pajamas on, but he still has to be under his blanket. Like it.
I love that. He just literally he knows that he's just not happy about it. He's having to
Yeah.
cry about it. That's
And if
so
you
cute.
ignore him, it gets worse. And he comes up and like smacks you on the back, and he's like, "No!" So yeah, just
That's
2 seconds.
hilarious.
I love him.
That's hilarious.
Um, and then like for me, like probably one of the biggest things that like keeps me going each day is knowing that my dogs deserve the best. Like I've got two rescues, and so my two rescues, my older adoption, so he's like just he needs a retirement. He needed a retirement home basically, and it's been anything but, bless him. And then like the puppy as
Mm,
well, like I want to give them the best possible things they can have in life. So whether that's caravan adventures, like road trips, we're planning a trip next year, hopefully in the caravan. I'm going to take the pup with me. By then she'll be
nice.
older, not a pup, but like it's just giving them that lifestyle that I feel is suitable. And like we took Fly away in the caravan when we first bought her for 2 weeks because like I knew she was getting older. I had no idea how, at that point she was probably quite unwell. But like in the lead up when I lost her, I was like, I'm actually really glad that, 9 months prior, I got to take her away.
Mm,
She got to see Tamworth and Sydney. Like we did all these cool things that probably for like a normal pet parent or just a normal person that doesn't, they're not like, like me with dogs. They're probably like, why would you find so much joy, taking your
mm,
dog to see the Sydney Harbour Bridge, Bondi Beach? And I actually had a conversation with a client about it. They were like, look, I don't want to, offend you, but why did you take her? Like, why didn't you just go by yourself? And I'm like, well, one, I didn't want to be traveling. Like, I was with my partner, so I wasn't alone. But I'm like, I didn't want to be traveling without a dog because that's just weird.
mm,
But I was like, I want to show her. I always promised her from day one, like, I'm going to show you things. You're going to have the life. And like all my dogs, I've said, you're going to have the life
mm,
where you get to see things, you get to do stuff. And it's just that promise that I want them to have the best possible life in all aspects. So for me, like that drive, just from that, like the professional sides of being a dog trainer and learning, that alone just makes me do what I want to
mm,
do. And like with Eric, my rescue, he's had such a shitty run. He deserves the best, so he's getting the best he like I possibly can. Like I'm trying so hard
mm,
to keep doing more and learning more so that I can not only do the best for my own but for others as well. Like dogs deserve
mm.
that.
You got a big heart. You got a big heart, mate. I
Sometimes it's a
think
bit too big.
you got a very, you got a very big heart. And no, I totally get it. Because look, I've been thinking about life a lot lately, and what's going to happen, and as you get older, you start thinking about that stuff, right?
Mm,
And I'm all about the memories and the experiences, and all the stuff like I've got all these things back here that I'm really into, and I like storytelling with them, but you're not going to take them with you. The end
yeah.
of the day, the only thing that matters is your family, your
Mm,
love, and the experiences and memories that you've had. So I completely understand that you'd want to take, your best friend, one of the
mm,
loves of your life, with you on those excursions, right? Like, or,
mm,
on the trips, and to do those things, because of course, why wouldn't you?
yeah.
I think too many people who get pets don't deserve pets sometimes. They don't
Mm,
treat them right. They don't give them the life. And I say the same thing about kids as well. Some
Yeah.
people have kids, and they don't give them the attention or the time they deserve, and they just grow
Yeah.
up without knowing what love is.
Mm,
And that's one of the biggest things for me is like my daughter will know that she was loved unconditionally, and
yeah.
that we do everything together, and we're best friends, and I'm going to be in her life all the time. And because at the end of the day, for me, there's nothing else worth living life for than to be
Mm,
with your family and your loved
yeah.
ones and have those experiences. So
Mm,
I completely agree. I completely agree, and it's so cool to hear you say that, because I think some people might need to hear that as well, especially if they've got pets and they're not giving them the love that they probably could, or they're treating them more like a burden. So I'm sure you see it. People get pets for their kids or whatever, but they don't connect with the animal, and they're just like a what's the word? A nuisance to them. Okay, look, I wanted to ask you. So I saw that you won a small business award, or a business award. I don't know if I'm getting this right. Can you tell me what that was, and when that was, and like how it all came about? I guess.
yeah. So it's actually I say a funny story. It's actually it's comical. So it's I have to always look because I always forget. I've got the big group photo on my desk, but it's the Australian Small Business Champion Award. So when I got the email back in like February or something last year. It's like, thanks for your nomination or some crap. And I was like, whatever. So I just deleted it. And it was to the email address that I didn't really use very often. And I was like, oh, that's odd. So I just deleted it. And then another one come through like a week later, like, hey, thanks for your nomination. We just need to get some more details from you. And I was like, no, like I'm not giving you my details. So I deleted it again. Um, and then I got a phone call from some Sydney number, and I don't answer the phone sometimes when they're weird numbers, so I just ignored it. Went to voicemail. And they're like, "Oh, hey, it's such and such from Championship Awards. We need to talk to you about your nomination." And I'm like, "What is this rubbish?" I was like, "This is absolute bollocks. Like, I'm
Scam.
not, yeah, scam." So I've just deleted it again. And then I got another call the next day, and it was another person. They're like, "Look, we're really sorry. We're trying to reach you. Like, we promise, like this is legit." And I'm just like, "No." Again, delete. And then I got another email coming through, like, "Okay, we get it. We're harassing you, but please, like, look into this. This is this is a web page. Like, go suss it out." So I was like, "Okay." And there was no links. So for me, that was like, okay, they're not telling me to
Okay.
click a link. So I was like, righto. So I, did a Google, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is actually a thing." And then I ended up getting the phone. I called them back and I was like, look, I'm really sorry. I'm so rude. But what the heck? Like, what is this? And they're like, oh,
Mm.
you've nominated for the Australian Small Business Championship Awards. You're a finalist. I'm like, no, I haven't. No, I didn't do that. And they're like, well, no,
Yeah.
your nomination has come through. Like, and then they went through all the details, like, is this the address? Is this what you do? And all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, how do you know this? And I'm like, is there a way that you can see, like, where the nomination come from? They're like, no, like, it's just your email address and your phone number. I'm like, oh, that's odd. Anyway, so talking to
Mm.
it, I was just like, something weird's going on. So I, gave them the details, sent them some photos, and they're just like, oh, I just wanted to confirm, how long you've been doing it, that kind of thing. So that was all fine, did all that. Got the finalist certificate in the mail, and I was like, oh my God, this is actually like a big deal. I was like, wow, like
Wow.
someone, I still don't know who. I have something else has popped up this year, and her name is
Mm.
Emily, and I can't find the full name. The email's not getting, so someone out there has created, I think, like a fake email account, whoever it is, to nominate me for
Mm.
this thing. And they've done it again for another one this year,
That's
which is different
awesome.
to the one from last year. Anyway, so I got the finalist certificate and got the details about the awards night and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I actually kind of want to go to this. I mean, this actually sounds really cool. There's going to be amazing people. And like, I was just like, this is going to be like a great networking event to meet small business owners and just like find out, why they do it, what it's all about. So I thought, oh, cool. So I said
Mm.
to mum, because my partner, was no way in hell he would be seen on a red carpet. Like I said to him and he's like, nah, not coming. I was like, okay, I'll get mum because, she can pay for herself. That's all fine. So mum and I went up to Sydney, and like flying up there, it was sort of like, I still didn't fully believe it was real. I was like, this is weird. Like
Mm.
I'm getting a bad feeling about this. But that was okay. So that was in the April, and we flew up. This is another one of my rescue animals. Rescue animals are needy.
Yeah.
And so we flew up, and we went to the aquarium, hung out, did all this cool stuff, and we got dressed and got I get the hair and makeup done, but I don't wear it, so we did it all ourselves. And we wandered down and got to the awards night, and I'm like, oh, there's like full red carpet, like cameras, and I was like, wow, this is actually like. And
Wow.
one of the things on the email was like, it's Grammy like level, and I was like, whatever. But when I got there, I was like, started talking to people, and they're like, oh, hey, I'm from such and such, and this is whatever else. And I met a few other dog trainers in my category, and they were like really cool people, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm here, like I'm at a national awards, like what the heck? And I
Wow.
turned to mum, and I'm pretty sure I was like, what is actually going on? And she's like, you've done this, like baby, this is what you've done. And I'm like, so anyway, we went in, and at this point, like I was a bit emotional because anxiety's high. There's thousands of people around and all going on, and they're going through, and we were about an hour and a half into the program for like the pet services category, and like watching everyone else go up, and we had these the most amazing people on our team. There was a young girl that had her own skincare brand. She was just like 18, maybe slightly younger, just amazing that like this 18-year-old girl could do this. And she was absolutely gorgeous. She looked stunning. And then there was this another young couple and their friend that had it's called Meals for Mamas. So they had a company that makes like homemade healthy hearty meals for new mums. So they were amazing, absolute firecrackers of people. And then a cosmetic team as well, and like they were all just delightful people. So the whole time, like we're just drinking wine, we're eating, we're having a great time, like completely oblivious to what was mostly going on. Anyway, so they called out the pet, got to the pet training category, and I was like, oh, this is us. And I came up on the big screen with a photo of my dog, so I'm like sobbing through, quite emotional because it's like my dog's birthday the next day, and I was like, oh, yeah, we're on a big screen, like how cool. And they read through all like the ones that were listed. I think there was like 14 or something, 12, 14 in the category. I was just like, oh my God. And then at this point I'd gone through and like stalked all the other entries. And I was like, oh my God, that one's amazing. And one of the girls she's good friends with Adrian that works with me. So Jade from Animal Behavior Matters. And like, she was in the same category. I'm like, oh, she's going to win. She does like the most amazing stuff. Like she trains rats, and amazing
Jesus.
person. Yeah. Like it's next level. Like she is just an absolute inspiration. Every time I like, it's just, next level. And then, it feels so weird because then they were like, oh, the winner is a bark above dog training. I've looked at mum, and then the lady beside me, she just like wrapped me up in this massive hug. And then from there, it was just a blur. Mum was screaming. And by this point, she turned a video camera on, and all you can hear is mum. I really wanted to post it to Facebook because like it's got a bit about the speech and that. And like it's quite nice. But mum's just that's all you could hear. And I was like, oh my God, mum. And then all I can remember is like getting up and like at this point, I didn't know the cameras are like on you. And I was just like focused because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, don't trip. You've had multiple glasses of wine. And for someone that doesn't normally drink, like it was just straight to the head. And I'm like focusing where I was walking, trying not to run into people and like walking up there. And I've got up on the stage and, had the photo with the guy presenting and whatever else. And he's handed you the trophy and your certificate. And I'm like, oh, what is this? And then like they sort of usher you towards the podium to do a speech. And I got up there and I'm like, that's a lot of people out there. I can't remember exactly what I said. I could look back at Mum's video, but I'm like, there's like over 1,000 people here. That's actually quite terrifying. I am not prepared. I don't have a speech, so let's wing it. Not really
Wow.
sure what I said. I can just remember trembling and then promptly basically bursting into tears and turning around and walking off. And then you go out to the side, you have your photo taken with the trophy, and it was just like I went and sat back down at the table, and at this point, Mummy's still screaming, mind you. I think it was like, Mum, no more
That's
wine.
classic.
But she's still going off, and everyone at the table was just like so excited. And the whole way back, because the table was sort of in the center, like people like grabbing me and being like, "Oh my god, you're amazing! Like congratulations!" All this stuff, and I'm just like, "Oh, what?" Like I sat back down, and I was like, "What just happened?" And Mum again still going, "Oh, I did as one," and she's like texting Dad, and that was amazing.
Wow.
But it was, and like to be like the first trainer on the Northwest Coast to take out a national title, I was like,
Mm,
one, that's pretty cool bragging rights, but two, to just know that someone thought I was worthy of that nomination and put me in for it, and then to go through a panel of judges, which I don't know what the criteria is for judging, but for
mm.
them to then go, this person, she deserves this title and this award this year. I'm still in shock. Like I've got the little trophy over there on my desk as like a little reminder.
Ah, I see it. I see
It's
it.
just tucked
I
away over
see
there.
it. Your
Sometimes the
Oscar.
cat knocks it off. Yeah, my Oscar. Yeah, like literally the Oscar. And it's just, and then yeah, I just still can't believe it. And same thing happened for the women's small business. So I got put in for that again, but this time they sent
Oh,
you like a
wow.
login. They're like, oh, you've started your application. I'm like, that's weird. So I went in and just tweaked it a bit and sent it off and whatever else. And I was like, yeah, cool. And then I got finalists for that too, and I was like, what? So we went up again,
You've
and I
taken out
was like,
awards. Holy
yeah,
moly.
no, I
And did
didn't.
you
I
win
didn't
that
win
too?
that one, and I was kind of relieved because we got there, and I'm like sculling back the wine, eating the food, and we met another bunch of amazing people. And one of the ladies on our table, she's an osteo, and so she won her category, and it was just like we're like grabbing each other, like, oh my god, you won! Like it was just the whole experience was amazing. And then they got to the pet training one, and they called out the other business that won, and I was like, oh thank God, I don't have to go through that again. I was like, and it was
Hilarious.
yeah, it was just it was. I still don't believe it's real. Like again, I
Yeah.
don't know if it's a bit of denial, but I'm like, I actually won that. Like that's
That's
wow.
so cool, mate. Like the
It's
fact
so
that
cool.
someone like it must feel so good to know that someone thought that you did such a great job that they nominated, and then these
It
group
is
of
great.
judges
I
look
just wish
at
I
it
knew
and
who it
going,
was
"You did
so I could thank them properly because I still don't know. I have had one client,
yeah,
like she dropped something and I was just like, was it you? And she's like, no, 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 it wasn't me. And I'm like, I can't tell if you're lying or not, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't her. Um, but like friends and family, like none of us knew what it was. So I don't
yeah."
know
Like who would
who did
even
this.
know? Yeah, like to think
So yeah.
to actually think to do it. That's crazy.
So
That's such
whoever
a cool
Emily
story,
is,
though.
it's pretty cool. But no one believes it because it's like obviously
Yeah,
not normal.
yeah.
Like
It
you just
isn't.
nominate
Well,
yourself. I'm like, I did it. I promise.
it's so random because like to it's funny that when you're telling the story about like deleting the emails, it's so funny. Like
One
I
after the
wonder
other.
if they knew that you had won, so they're like, we need to get hold of this person to get them here because they're gonna
Well,
win,
that's the
and
thing.
we
I
need
was
them to
like,
be here.
what was like the time frame of the judging? Like, how did you like? Why were you so
Mm.
pushy for information? But at the time, like, I didn't even connect the dots. It wasn't until like afterwards, and then like nearly 12 months later, that I'm like, hang on a minute, that's why they were harassing me.
Yeah, because they
Um,
needed you to be there. They need you to be there so
literally.
you can do it. They're like, what are we gonna do if we can't get this chick here? We're gonna have to
Yeah.
bloody give it to someone else.
And then yeah, one of the
That's
ladies that
so
we
funny.
met, that she won last year in the women's one, she messaged me. She's like, "Oh my god, I'm a finalist again. Did you nominate?" And I'm like, "No, I kind of forgot about it." And she's like, "Oh, so you're not going to be there?" I'm like, "No, sorry." She's like, "Who's going to film my speech this year?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." But yeah, so and both lots. So the two separate awards, both all the companies are backing again, and I'm just like, I'm rooting for you all from home. Like I wish I was there to support them
Yeah.
again, but yeah, just rooting from
Wow.
home. Amazing,
Oh,
amazing moment.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, mate. Has it like I know it hasn't settled in, but do you think that's helped the business in any way grow since then? Is that something that or do you think like it hasn't really had any impact on
I don't
like
really
the
know. I honestly couldn't tell you. Like business didn't suddenly boom or anything like that. Like the Facebook interactions when I posted that I'd won, like that night, I was going to save like the photo and post it the next day because I try and only do like one or two posts a day. But I'm like, I have to get this up, and it went up at like 10 p.m. at night, and it just went off, and people was like constantly being like, "Oh my god, we're
wow.
so proud! Like congratulations!" And I think that for me was. Uh, I don't know if a wake up call is the right term, but like it was something that I was like, wow, like I'm actually doing a good thing here with like what I'm doing, not just with the dogs, but with
Of
the
course.
connections to like Dolly's Dream and supporting the veterans and all this extra stuff. I'm like, no, no, this just like locks in that I am on the right pathway. Can you please hold
Yeah.
that?
That
Um,
must be that that must have been just such a great experience to go through that and
oh,
to know that. Well, look, I can tell you what you've told me that you do. You're doing so many different things to help people. Of course, you're doing a good thing. You're doing a
I'm
great thing. You're
fine.
helping people, get support. You're helping people, have dogs that aren't crazy and rule the roost. So that's also very
If
important.
they rule the roost, that's fine. What else?
Look, I'm soft too. Like my daughter
Yeah.
already rules the roost. I'm soft as it is. If I have another thing in the house that's just ruling over me, I'm going to be in trouble.
Nah,
Be in
you'll be
big
fine. You
trouble.
just suck it up. That's what my dad did. He just goes, "Oh well," and my partner's the same. He's like, "Ugh," just gives up.
Yeah, look, secretly, I love it.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it. I'm,
exactly.
I'm, I'm the dad. I'm the dad that's there every afternoon after school, embarrassing her in front of all her friends. That's how
Yes,
I roll.
good,
That's what I do.
good,
I
love
even
it.
have this game with the other kids. I do the old like I'm looking at you, and all these
Yeah,
kids run
yeah.
up to me and do all that now. It's like, yeah,
Oh,
I'm the
cute.
annoying. I'm Phil Dumfrey from Modern Family,
Yeah,
basically.
I was
That's who
literally
I
just
am.
thinking. I was about to say that, and then my brain went, "No, no, that's rude." But yes, yes, that is you.
No, I'm,
Love
I'm
it.
definitely Phil Duffy.
That's great.
Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, some will say,
Oh
but
dear.
I'm definitely him. He's he's my spirit animal.
Yeah,
Um,
love
so
it.
with the business then and having that happen, have you? I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I kind of wanted to see like what's the plans for the future with it? Like, are you planning on adding more staff and growing it that way? Have you thought about maybe training courses where you can teach people to do what you do? Like, where are you at right now thinking about where you're going to take it? Like, have you thought about that much recently?
Look, I'm not much of a thinker. I'm not gonna lie. I just kind of go, "Yep, that's a good idea. Let's run with it." So like plans moving forward, like it's just again developing more of my own skills, really pushing myself to learn. Like I really want to go down the pathway, like continue down this behavior pathway because dogs are
Yeah.
just such complex creatures, and there's just so much that needs to be learned about them to benefit them. So that's one of the main things. But like the reason behind this consultant course that I did is just it's giving me the skills and the confidence to go and then teach. So like I said before,
Mm,
like in the pipelines, there's something happening. It's still early days, but like I can't quite
okay. Yeah.
release
No,
that.
that's
But
fair
it
enough.
does
Yep.
involve no, it's fine. Like it does involve me going out and working with others, whether it's primary age children, high schools. Like it's that sort of level of training other people around dogs and that
Mm,
element that people don't know. So like yeah,
yeah.
like I said, it's all in the pipelines there, but it's just whatever's needed for the community. Like I might have someone message through and be like, hey, do a common topic is snake aversion training. Like people want their dogs to
Ah,
know like not to go near snakes, and I'm like, again, it's in the pipelines, but I've got to have everything set up so well that it takes time. And I think for me,
mm,
like future plan is to develop these things, but also learn the patience that it doesn't just happen overnight. Like I make a decision on something, I want it yesterday. So,
yeah. That's
like,
what I do too. That's what I do too.
but
Patience
it's ugh.
is hard.
Yeah, I have all the patience in the world for animals. Like I work with grooming dogs that have been pretty severely traumatized in a regular grooming situation, and it can take me an hour and a half to do a 20-minute job, but like I will have the patience to sit there with this dog and be like, bro, you're okay, like have some snacks, and like retrain their brains for an hour and a half. But then in my head I have this idea and it's like I need that done now. So it's
Mm.
and then I don't want to wait. So
It's
like there'll be
interesting like that.
little
It's
pipelines things. I'm
interesting.
like, I just want to release them. Like I just
Yeah.
just want to do it.
I can't keep a secret. I
No,
look, don't tell me any secrets. I can't
no,
keep a secret because I'm like, I just want to get it
yep,
done and talk about it. I just want to let
yep,
everybody know what I'm doing, and I've got to hold
yep,
on to it. Like, yeah,
yep,
holding on to it and not wanting to share it is very difficult for me also. So I
yeah,
completely understand how you
yep.
feel. I want it
And I
done
overshare
yesterday.
as
I have all
well.
these.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you do, like, you'll
that's
just
all
be
right.
off on a tangent, and then 20 minutes later, I'm like, oh, probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. I've
Oh,
just
well.
told them everything. I've
Yeah.
just given up my entire secrets. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
that's
well.
kind of, but yeah, that is a good thing. That I
Yeah.
think that is a means that you want to share, you want to help people. And I just want
Yeah.
to say, like, from where we started the conversation, from what you mentioned about not being able to go into out out in public with a dog to being up on stage accepting an award and now to be looking at actually helping people. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, look how far you've come. Like, that's
Yeah.
so inspiring to me. And I hope that this inspires some other people when they listen to it, that even though you can have challenges like that, now you're doing podcasts, you're up on stage accepting awards, you're talking in front of big groups of people. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome. And you've done that yourself. You've created
Mm.
the courage, to do
Yeah.
that, if I'm to be cheesy and use my own
Yeah.
catchphrase. But
That's quite good.
I always feel weird saying it. I'm like, you sound like a douchebag saying it, but that's
No,
how
not
I
at
feel.
all.
That's,
Not at all.
that's how I feel about it. So I think, mate, your story is awesome, and I think it's a
Thank you.
valuable story, and I just love what you're doing. I really do love what you're doing. So it brings me to the question of, if someone else is looking at chasing their dream or doing their thing, or they don't know what they want to do, whether it be wanting to work with animals and or whatever it is, I'm going to put you on the spot. What advice, given everything you've gone through to get to where you are, what advice would you look back and give your younger self, or give someone else that's looking at getting started,
Yep, I did actually
to get
prepare this
after it?
one because I was like,
Okay, good.
I have to get this right. So I've literally got it written down in front of
Okay.
me because I knew that if I didn't write it down, I would go off on 30 different tangents and not make my point. So I am prepared.
Okay.
But for me, if you're going to pursue your dreams, you must summon the courage to face every challenge head on, knowing that each step forward is a victory in itself. Let those passions burn brighter than any doubt or obstacle, because the fire within you is stronger than any setback. There will always be those who try to bring you down out of their own jealousy and insecurity. But remember, their voices are nothing compared to the strength of your vision. Stay unwavering, trust your path, and let nothing stop you from becoming who you're meant to be. Your dreams are worth every ounce of courage you have, so go after them with everything you've got.
Woo! That is awesome. That
And I
is
will admit,
awesome.
I
That's a
got goosebumps reading that. Like,
that's a short right there. I got to clip that up, and that's a short.
okay, done. Like I feel that, like when I was writing it, I was like, how am I going to word this? And I just was banging words out on the keyboard, and then it just come to me, and then I started putting things together and cutting and chopping, and I'm like, and then when I read it in that
Yeah.
that moment, I only read it probably half an hour ago because I finished it and then was like, I'm not going to reread any of this because I don't want to
Hmm.
overthink it. I'm like, oh my god, that's wrong. But I'm like, and then yeah, when I just and I was like, no, that's for me, that's powerful. Like I want that message to
Yeah.
be to others.
That's awesome. And look, after everything that we've talked about, that resonates with me. Like, when people can understand what you've been through and go through your journey and everything, all of that resonates about
Yeah,
dealing with people, the things, keeping the fire alive. You've definitely got the fire and passion for what you're doing. That's why when you said that, it doesn't feel like work, mate, you've got it made. You are doing something that doesn't feel like work. I think that is true success in life. If you're doing something that doesn't feel like work and it is your work, if you
yeah,
make money off it to earn a living,
yeah.
I think that's winning. That's winning in life, to be doing something
Mm.
that you love. And I'm envious of that, because one day I want to make a living doing this because I love doing this, but I'm not
Yeah,
there yet. I'm
yeah.
working towards it. So that's inspiring for me. Like, wow, like, you're doing it. I love talking to people who figured it out and are doing things that they love and they can make a living off it, to be able to continue, to do it, obviously. So thank you for sharing that, because that was
That's okay.
awesome. I think that's really good. And you do what I do. I write things and chop and change. Like, I'll be writing something and I'll have it and I'll cut this bit from here and put it back up the
Yeah.
top. I'm like, it goes better there. It just came out of my brain earlier
Oh,
or later or whatever. It's weird like
yeah.
that, hey, when you do stuff
My
like that, because that's
my poor
literally
dad
what
and
it
one of
is.
my good friends, she does like I've got her in my business page, so she goes in and tweaks and like does a bit of my admin kind of stuff around the Facebook posts. And between her and dad, I'm always like, I need help. And dad every day, because like my social media is scheduled, 3-4 weeks in advance. So I'll be like, oh, I have an idea for a blog post. So I send it to him and he's like, not again. So I'm like, okay, sorry. And then I message my friend Rianne and I'm like, can you please go check that? And it's just,
Nice.
and then I'll go in and read, and then again, like it's that paragraph's moved up, this one swapped. And one of the
Yep.
biggest things that like I struggle, and it's such a controversial topic, is the AI stuff. Like I will not, I flatly refuse to use AI because it's not you, like it's not
Mm,
from your heart. And people have
yes.
always said to me, they're like, oh, no, do you write your post with AI? I'm like, absolutely not. Like, they're my words.
It's not
It
you. Yeah. It's not,
takes me
it's
ages and it
not,
may take me 3 days, but I get there.
yeah. Well, I agree with that, because I believe that your message gets ahead better when it comes from you. It's either
Mm,
either what you say is going to resonate with people or it won't. but
Mm.
I'd rather it succeed from me than succeed
Yeah.
through something that's not me, because then it
Yeah.
kind of feels like a farce, I guess, would be the
Yeah, and
word.
like, well,
So I
we all
agree.
deal differently with different people, and I know people probably don't like me as a business person, like they don't like my training methods, but that's fine. Like, I don't
Mm.
mind. So yeah, we
Really?
all
Oh,
have
that's
different
crazy.
things. Yeah,
Yeah, we
doesn't
all
phase
have.
me.
Well, that's true. I've had people. I used to think like, oh, I wanted to be a good manager. I'm going to manage like this.
Mm,
And when I would come up against people who hated my managing style, and I'm
mm,
like, oh, damn, like, I feel like I'm doing the right thing because I feel like I get better results like this. But this person
yeah,
just doesn't resonate with it at all. So I definitely get that. But yeah, look, it's all noise. It's all noise.
yeah,
There's always going to be people like that in life. And I think a lot of people who are wanting to get started, what you said in your message there, they need to play that back and just remember that only you can make it happen.
mm.
Um, and you can't let other people stop you from doing it or bring you down. So I think that those words are true to live by for sure, mate. And I think you did a great job writing it. And if you had used AI, it wouldn't have connected like it did.
No,
I don't think so.
no.
I thank you for coming on, mate.
That's okay. Thanks
Now
for having
I'm
me.
gonna look, it was been a pleasure. I'm going to send people to your Instagram and to your Facebook. So anybody who's watching this, I'm going to chuck the links to your Facebook and your Instagram. I'm not following you on Facebook, so I'm going to do that after this. But I am following you on Instagram. I'm going to put
Sweet.
the links in the description. So go follow them and show your support. That's everybody's got to support each other, especially if you're into motivation and stuff like that. So if you're listening to this, go throw Isabella some support on her pages and follow her journey. You might learn a thing or two about looking after your animals too, which I know I'll be doing next time we get a dog because I can't let
I do offer
I can't let
online sessions, so I have quite a few clients around the state, and one in Melbourne. Not gonna lie, so make it work.
That's cool. That's cool. The beauty of technology, right? You got them all.
That's
You can have
great.
them all over the world. Far
Yeah.
out. That's awesome. Well, look, anybody who's listening, thank you for tuning in. This will be on YouTube and Spotify. So we're on YouTube and Spotify, soon to be Apple Podcasts as well. Once I get my butt sorted with getting that organized. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Instagram, X, Facebook, all the good things. You know what it is. Until next time, Isabella, thank you so much for coming on again, mate. I've enjoyed the chat, and we'll see you in the next one, guys.
Thank you.
Peace out.